Hey everyone, this is Ryan Jeske with the Prescott Caliber Club. Today we are out in the prairie and we are shooting something very cool. This is my Knights Armament SR-25. This is mostly converted over to an M110, although I can hear you Army collectors going crazy right now because of my scope choice, right? That's okay. This is what I'm going with. This is what I like. I'm not a straight military collector, so for me, I wanted some function that was a little different, and I wanted to try this scope out, so that's why we're using the Steiner ICS. But let's get out to the prairie and let's talk about this gun, the Knights Armament SR-25 M110. What we're talking about here today is the Knights Armament SR-25. This is essentially a modernized AR-10 platform. Some of the information that I learned when I was researching this firearm was the AR-10 early on was kind of designed in a way that it was trying to retrofit itself back into AR-15. So using as many AR-15 parts that were interchangeable between the two was kind of part of the design goal, which to many of us think that that was probably a flaw because AR-10s are very difficult. I have had more trouble with AR-10s than I can count. I've had more trouble with AR-10s than I've had ones work. And these aren't cheap, inexpensive, garage-built guns that weren't working. These are really high-end things. So I've always had a hard time with it. And mostly I think it's due to the 308 pressures, which is what this firearm shoots. It's a 7.62 NATO or a 308 rifle. And this here is typically how you would see it, aside from the scope, if it were to be issued into the military. This has the Knights Armament forend. It does have a Knights bipod in the front as well. This one is marked Titusville, Florida, which is pretty cool. Knights Manufacturing Company, SR-25. Now, I know this isn't a true M110, and I'm not a big fan of stamp overs all the time, so I'm leaving mine just as is. This does have the nice stock. You can adjust here the length of pull. I believe you push in and turn or pull, one of the two, and that will push your buttstock back. You've got ambidextrous, almost everything. Safety, mag release. Everything on here is ambi, which is really cool, and some of those are the upgrades from the original AR-10 type design. This does also have the Knights sight, and then the optic that I'm using today is pretty cool. It is the Steiner Germany ICS 6x40. ICS stands for Intelligent Combat Sight, and what that means is when I look through this, I have some pads up here and a button in between them, so I just press right here, and that will actually range find through this scope. When it range finds, it's got it tuned into the ballistics for the ammunition that I'm running, or at least some of the ammo that I'm running today. And that actually will show you how far to hold over. But basically, you look inside the scope, you range it. The scope itself will show you a dot lower or wherever you need to adjust, and you put the new dot on the target and pull the trigger, and you should be on target. So we're also here to test that scope out a little bit today. Out of the range, I have a 100-ish range target and a 300. Actually, let's range them from right here. Using the Steiner. The Steiner ranges the closest one at 51 yards. And the furthest at 280. This is an original Knights Armament suppressor for this rifle. It is pretty darn cool. To suppress the rifle, you've got a real cool lockup system right here on top. So that's where your gate goes. So you drop the suppressor on, turn it, it'll lock in place, close your gate, and you're now running suppressed. So let's pop a couple of rounds in here, do some shooting, and actually see how this thing does. All right, guys, so we're about to do some shooting, but first I wanted to ask that if you enjoy the content here, please jump in the description section down below where there's a number of ways that you could help support the channel. One thing you may have noticed when I had the suppressor off was that I did not have a flash hider on the gun. Now, some of these guns did have flash hiders. This one in particular did not. Some of the barrels are cut flat, and I think it was hit or miss whether or not they were used that way in the military. I know some were, some weren't, so both variations were used. Right now, we're going to suppress this rifle, and we're going to take a few shots. We're just going to try to shoot this 50-yard target here and see what we can do. I had originally purchased this from a guy secondhand, and there was some trouble with the gun. First of all, we found that the gas tube itself was an AR-10 gas tube, basically, which is a little out of spec. And then there was a primer cap stuck up into that gas tube, which didn't help. So the first shots I'm going to take are going to be at 50, 58 yards, 60 yards, whatever that was. I put the crosshairs on and hit my little button with the Steiner. It shows to hold it right on that. We're going to take the safety off here and give her a go. Target down. But it did not fire the second round. See what we got going here. That's 308 Win brass. Let's check it out again. Give it another go. No go. So we've got the rifle short stroking. Not perfect. Let's try it without the suppressor real quick. Let's make sure this isn't too hot. But I have to say that was really quiet for 308. I was impressed with that. Again, set our suppressor down, which was not too hot yet. Let's shoot it unsuppressed real quick. See what we got going here. You're going to definitely hear sound difference, of course. But here we go, 60 yards. Nailed it. Did that cycle? It sure did. So it's cycling unsuppressed. Now, let's move this out to the 280 yard range. I'm going to put my scope and my crosshairs right on the steel target and hit the button. That tells me 280 yards, and it gives me an orange dot just a little low. That's pretty amazing. Let's see if this thing's cycled now. Hit it. Yeah. So that's 280 and 60. Nailed it. Nailed it. Back to 280. Nailed it. All right, guys. So I am still having a little bit of trouble with the M110, but as you can see, this thing is pretty damn accurate. And the ICS itself, man, is this thing cool. So again, essentially, the ICS is an intelligent combat sight. This thing is a 6x40 millimeter. It's from Steiner, Germany. And this thing is taking the crosshairs and you put it on your target, you hit the button, and it will show you your holdover and where to set it. So when I was going between the 60 and the 280, when I pressed the button, it would show me how far to hold over for 280, and this was pretty darn accurate. Now, since the gun's not running perfectly either way, let's shoot it suppressed a little bit, see how much that changes things. Now, guys, again, if you're liking the content here, please share our videos to your social media pages. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell icon and all that. That'll help keep you up to date with everything we have going on. Let's take a few more shots and then we'll change out our ammo and see if that helps at all with the cycling problems we're experiencing. Otherwise, back to the table. .280, where are you? There you are. I want to keep going long because this is fun. Now, guys, I don't know what you know about the M110. Some people know this from video games. Some people know this from the military. But there were many variations of this rifle, and a whole bunch of different prototypes came out. I shouldn't say prototypes, but I guess early releases of the gun to the military that had maybe different rail system, different optics, different grips, different things on them, which is pretty cool. So you can find these in all kinds of different variations. This one, again, started life as an SR-25 and ended up the way it is today, which is almost an M110. Now, I want to shoot a little Federal 308, 180 grain soft point. We're gonna shoot some of that. Now, I also want to talk a little bit more about the flash suppressors. This gun, again, does not have the typical flash suppressor. This gun has the flat nose barrel. And from what I've been able to find out by researching was that some of the military guns had flash suppressors, some didn't, many didn't. But if you've got any experience with that, please let me know down below. Let's try some other ammo. Let's see if we get this thing running. I also have some Federal American Eagle 150 grain we could try. And then some of this Perfecta 147. I don't know how this will all perform. But so far, I'm not super happy with the gun running. However, it's pretty dang accurate, and the Steiner is friggin' awesome. So if anybody's looking for a Steiner, I would recommend checking it out. So again, let's go 280 right away, see what happens. And really, that suppressor is impressive. What I want you guys to know about this thing is that essentially the barrel comes out to about here. And what you're doing, kind of like a modern AB suppressor, which is something that I'm going to show you pretty soon in a new video, an upcoming video I'm going to do on the SCAR 20 with AB and a similar setup to this. But these suppressors capture the extra volume that you're losing around the side of the barrel if you were to just screw that on the end. It's really the actual purpose for having it set up that way. Let's take a few shots here without the suppressor, and we'll see how it runs as well with this 180 grain. 60 yards. And 280. Nailed it. Again, with the ICS, you're taking the crosshairs, putting it on your target and hitting a button. When the button gets engaged, it sends a rangefinder out, which determines the range, does the calculation. It shows you your holdover. It's pretty dang cool. The glass is pretty nice as well. Man, is that fun. And the bolt holds open. So guys, let's try some more ammo. It's still a little warm, but suppress it again. Open that gate. Get her locked up. Again, this is 308 Federal American Eagle 150 grain full metal jacket. Give 10 rounds of that a go. Now, another question I have for you guys is, what kind of AR-10s are you running? Are you familiar with running? And what kind of luck have you had with them? And have you had any bad luck? Because I have had issue after issue with mine, really similar to this kind of stuff, where it's really finicky. And for what I'm finding out is, once you get them dialed in, they seem to run pretty good. But up until then, they can be pretty finicky little buggers. I want to do the SCAR 20 video along with this, which you guys aren't going to want to miss that. Please subscribe. That video is going to be so cool. I've got this AB suppressor with a reflex mount that goes all the way over the whole barrel, 10-inch. It's a suppressor very similar to this. Anyway, let's take a few shots with the American Eagle 150 grain. Maybe this will cycle. Close up. Man, 280 yards. This is fun. I wish this is the first gun I ever wish had a forward assist on it. Yeah, dead trigger. So for all you Knights experts out there, I just ran into a little trouble where my trigger locked up. And this is a KAC trigger. But I noticed if I push this trigger over to the one side, it didn't want to release for a minute there, and now it is releasing. So do you guys have any experience with Knights Armament triggers? What do you know about them? Would you be able to give me any information on this trigger setup? So far, I've got it kind of back up and running, so I think we're all right. Let's get it back together. My reputation with the AR-10 308 mess continues. Back down, there, now it's running. Put it all back together and I bet you it fires. Here we go. And I just heard it reset. Short stroke, and that's probably exactly what is going on with our trigger system. Or I mean with our issues and our errors with the gun, with our malfunctions. It very well could be that trigger system holding it up. So when I get back, that's going to be the first place I start checking. The 308 round itself is a badass, kick-ass, military-proven, serious round. What I like about this round is exactly that. What I don't like about this round is the pressures. So if you're out of timing at all, things can really go haywire. I try to stay away from 308 semi-auto stuff simply because of that. I hate to say it, but that's where, for me, the SCAR kind of outshines, but it's not the same either. There's nothing quite as cool as a Knights. So, let's take a few more shots, see how it's running now. "280 yards. Nailed it. Well, there, guys, that was a pretty good magazine. That makes me wonder if some of the hang-up we were seeing here isn't actually happening on the trigger side of things. If it's hanging up at all and it's coming up light or short, you know how that goes if you come up light or short. Let's talk a little bit about the magazines. AR-10 magazines, the original early magazines, were kind of crappy. They're just really light, flimsy, and the SR-25 was kind of built around that magazine. That's kind of one thing I don't like. I wish there were just... You know, there's enough issues with the 308, with the AR-10 itself, all of that, and then you throw the magazine in, and it's like, holy cow. But anyway, there is a difference. There are the SR-25 pattern mags that run in this. I run some of them. Some work, some don't. They're really finicky. Let's try our trusty old steel mag here. This is the one that I found that runs best. And we're going to run 10 rounds of the Perfecta 147 grain full metal jacket 308 Winchester. Let's give this a go. I think this will be our last magazine. So again, guys, if you enjoy the content, hit that like, subscribe button, share our videos. Let's see how it runs now. .280. There we go, we got another one. What's definitely not running this ammo real great either. Looks like an itty bitty light primer strike. For any of you gurus or experts out there, let me know what you think. It seems to be pretty intermittent, and that is consistently my problem. Intermittence is the consistency. Always on the AR-10 SR-25 guns. Let's shoot again. 60. Nice. 280. I wanted to get this thing running a little better. Now, my main suspicion was that the buffer spring was running a little light, so I replaced the buffer spring with a new H2 buffer. I also replaced the trigger with a Geisley trigger, and now we are running like $1,000,000. 340 yards. So, go ahead, charge the weapon, and I'm going to lay some steel down range, and you guys will be able to see that I finally got my M110 running like $1,000,000. Let's do it. Man. This thing is so darn cool. Really, I wanted to showcase the ICS as well because that optic is absolutely freaking kick-ass. So, I don't know, guys. I don't have a whole lot more for you today. I just hope that each and every one of you stays safe. And as always, don't forget to keep prepping.